We are back. We are live. Today could be one of the most epic days in crypto history. We have the GENIUS Act. So we're going to cover all of that. We've got some XRP news, Ethereum news, Solana news, HBAR news about the ETF. It's a pretty exciting day. And again, as you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of the GENIUS Act. I do not like it. I think it will lead to CBDCs, and I'm just not ready for any of this yet. And also, too, when we talk about the GENIUS Act and stablecoin regulation, whatever, I think it's moving too fast. And I also want to see the bill written in plain English to where we can all understand what's being said, because I'm sure there's going to be some caveats there. But at the end of the day, I am just a poor, stupid retail investor, and nobody cares about retail. So I just want to remind you that. Also, too, when we talk about stablecoins and the GENIUS Act and CBDCs, et cetera, it's going to help usher it in. It's going to turn everything to digital cash, and they're going to take what we currently have, the system we currently have, and just merge it on over, just push it over, which means all the debt, all the insanity will carry on to our children, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. I understand that a stable coin, or excuse me, a CBDC we were promised against that. However, I don't believe it. That's just my personal opinion. However, short term, this will be immensely bullish for the market because we're going to have all these stable coins come out on all these different chains. We're going to see activity. We're going to see numbers going up. We're going to see liquidity and volume and everything. And we're really going to get into mainstream. However, when we're talking about getting into mainstream, retail is not going to have an equal seat at the table, primarily because... Shout out to Mr. A for becoming a O Army member. Give a big round of applause for Mr. A. Thank you so much, sir. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, UBI, etc. So short term, it's going to be good because it's going to pump our bags. So I want you guys to make as much money as ethically and legally as possible. Because if we do get another altcoin season, it may be the last one. And things are really changing from this idea of a true decentralized economy to a centralized economy with crypto, which makes no sense. But it is what it is. We don't have control. We just have to grit along ethically alongside this stuff. So that's why I wore a special shirt today. And it's hot in my house. I also have a plumber here, a good family friend that's here, helping me out with some of the stuff. And Lowe's, she's the project manager today. So good morning to all of the channel members. Good morning to Mr. Gamer, to Mr. D, to Infinite TAT, Mr. Legend, Mr. A. And let's go ahead and get started with it. And yes, Edward is right. Walmart with their own stablecoin. We are going to cover that story. And I do have some thoughts about that because we're talking about large corporations creating their own stablecoin. I think it's going to be more of we're going to have this monetary system within our little economy, like for gift cards and stuff like that. That's what I see happening. Maybe you'll get rewards. Maybe you can earn yield. Who even knows? John Legend said, why Walmart get a stable? What group are they in? Where is that approved? It's not approved yet, but Walmart is looking into it. So let's go ahead and cover all the stablecoin stuff. And again, XRP's got an XRP ecosystem. RLUSD has a stablecoin. USDC, Tether, all kinds. We're going to see more and more and more. And then I think that this is really going to essentially help Ethereum and other projects that are working on DeFi, because stablecoins are a crucial part of DeFi. I know that's super weird, right? Because you can claw stablecoins back. You can halt transactions. Anyways, this is from Ms. Ellie. Final passage vote on the GENIUS Act will take place today at 4:30 p.m. ET. And it's the last vote the bill will see in the Senate before moving on to, it was the last vote in the bill. So basically there's a bunch of different steps that needs to happen. Algorithmic? No, I think they got rid of the algorithmic stablecoins, but the clawbacks are built into the smart contracts. Anyways, but the bill is going to aim to establish legal framework for stablecoins, and what they do is they go back and forth to get the bills like perfect. So basically the House and the Senate has to sign off on these or vote on them. And then we need the president's approval. So the amendments that they had to make, because again, these guys are going back and forth because they want to make sure that they are putting in all these little teeny tiny caveats into these supposed to be 2 to 3 pages bills in plain English, but end up turning into hundreds of thousands of pages in not plain English with all this other BS put in. That's exactly what's happening. But the amendments include measures addressing conflicts of interest involving elected officials and crypto ties. I get that to a certain extent. That's fine. I'm not really too pressed about that. But if they're going to have the same energy with elected officials and crypto ties, they need to have the same energy with traditional finance, because that's harder to track. Cloture was invoked last week with a 60 to 30 Senate vote, indicating some bipartisan support. Good. Unclear if the bill will pass with full bipartisan support and reach the president for final signing, but we are getting closer, and I think that we will get it approved. However, Miss Elizabeth Warren has to come out and post stupid things like this because she's probably one of the least educated people as senator ever. But she said, if Congress doesn't fix the GENIUS Act, billionaires like Musk and Bezos could launch stablecoins that track your purchases, exploit your data, and squeeze out the competitors. Those billionaires will come up begging for taxpayer bailout when inevitably blows up. I'm not really understanding what she means by this. What she mean by this at all. It makes no sense. And also, you guys, make sure to smash the like and share this. But like, I get what she's saying, but have you heard of cash? And this is not just going to, like, and she hasn't done anything or said anything positive for retail. Like, she hasn't tried to, remove the accredited investor law, anything like that. So basically, instead of her actually utilizing critical thinking, understanding what crypto is, and remember, she's a friend of the Bankman-Fried's family, but she's just making assumptions. And I mean, I can understand the privacy aspect because I'm not super bullish on stable coins, but at the same time, they're already tracking us. They're tracking us as it is. Like anytime you go on Target or Amazon, and then I log on to YouTube, I see ads for things I just looked at. Like they're already tracking us. So if anything, they're just going to have a little bit more tracking capability. It's still, I mean, I get what she's saying, but at the same time, there's so many other things that I would appreciate she pay attention to. And she doesn't like crypto anyways. She doesn't want us to have our bags bumped, but I digress. Also, the story about Walmart. So Walmart now is traded for 9 consecutive days, longest losing streak since August of 2011. And is this going to be because of the stable coins? And maybe their stock is going to be performing better. Mixing went ahead and added this. He said it's for his own speculation, but I will counter that speculation for you, sir. And I think it is because they found out Walmart was funding something here in the U.S. And we won't talk about that too terribly much, but that's what I think. That's what I think is kind of brewing. With the Walmart stock thingamabobber like that. But anyways, I do want to talk about some other stablecoin stuff. Do we have any? Yeah. Well, we know that, let's talk about JP Morgan. Okay. Let's talk about JP Morgan a little bit. And then we'll get into crypto market update, etc., all kinds of stuff. So JP Morgan, who famously disliked crypto, they filed for a trademark for digital asset platform as Wall Street's crypto embrace continues. JPMD will offer services including digital assets trading, exchange payments, and issuance according to the filing. Along with that being said, Mr. Deaton, a good friend of the O Show, said, never listen to what they say and always pay attention to what they do. Now that Morgan is officially involved in crypto, JB Diamond's statement claiming crypto only use cases for criminals and illicit activities does now have an element to the truth of it. I love that he said that. Deaton's an absolute savage, and we love it. And this not only proves that trademarks do matter, but in addition to trademarks mattering, JP Morgan has officially entered the game, and we know that they're going to have a stable coin, all kinds of stuff. So that's a little bit important to know. But let's do a quick market update, and then when we got some more news, we got some ETF news, and we're talking about ETF news because it does in fact matter. Because once these ETFs get approved, it's going to push liquidity into the markets, and hopefully we see green days, and hopefully we see an actual altcoin season. So the markets are not looking too terribly great right now, and that's because we have a lot of geopolitical stuff happening on a global scale. We don't really know what's going to happen in country 1 and country 2 and with us and all the neighboring countries. And if you guys know what that means, you know what it means. I got to be careful what I say. All I personally care about is our innocence. That's all. But now when we take a look at Bitcoin, and take a look at the entire market, Bitcoin is actually getting ready to retap on $102,000. And that's unfortunate because it does look, we did print a red dot with market cipher. It does look like we are going to retap on 102,000 and potentially break. It's not looking really healthy right now. Again, this is on the weekly, but again, weekly takes a lot longer to play out. Market Cipher also printed another red dot on the daily. So if we lose support, if we lose support between 100,000, then we will, because again, we do have some swing wick lows when the Trump Elon stuff happened. So if we break down past 100,000, we're not able to reclaim 102, then we will probably be stuck in this range of hell between 94 and about $103,000. Ethereum is also suffering, and these swing wick highs, I should have known this, Anytime you get swing wick highs, and they're not able to close, it's just going to be indicate to me potentially lower. And so we're probably going to start trading between 25 and 2200 again, which is not exciting. And then we've got Solana. Solana is holding on to support really well at 146, but it's looking like we're losing. And again, all these charts are kind of looking similar. That we're losing important area of support, and we're probably going to end up breaking down into the previous range that we saw. Now, SUI is also not looking great at all. And if we break down below 280, then we've got another really great support area over here at about 255 to 236. Taking a look at XRP was not able to sustain above this other trend line, and we're probably going to head back down to about $2. Chainlink is also getting ready to lose support as well, but it looks a little bit healthier than some of the stuff we just saw. And but if we do continue to fall, look between 1141 and 1289. Now, ADA is also falling as well. We'll probably hit 58 cents. And HBAR tried to sustain above 15 cents, but we're heading back down to 14 cents over here. So the markets are in a little bit of disarray. And what does that tell you? What should we be doing? What should we be doing? Well, we should pay attention to what big money is doing, because apparently Bitcoin ETFs log 1.8 billion over 6-day inflow streak. Analysts strike up cautious tone amid price dip. So the U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs, they extended their inflow streak to 6 days, which was good. That means money is coming in. But why is number going down? Well, number's probably going down too is because some people are probably selling, but maybe it's not the ETF holders. Maybe they're continuously buying this dip as we're heading downward. It also says that despite positive ETF flows, analysts remain cautious amid the latest price drop as geopolitical tensions continue. And I think that's exactly what's happening too. I think a lot of, what do you mean why people always skip XRP? I just covered XRP, silly goose. But with that being said, we talked about the geopolitical thing that's going on right now. We also talked about people are probably just holding on their Bitcoin instead of actively trading it. So that could be why numbers are going down as well. So we'll see what happens. But right now I would just be really cautious. And I heard and I read somewhere that the ETF, there was 100 million liquidated. We could actually check that right here. Let's go ahead and see those beautiful liquidations we saw. So a lot of people were shorting too early, it looked like. Crazy. Where's our heat map? Where's our liquidation? Exchanges, open interest, liquidations. Here we go. Let's see our liquidation. No, not this one. I like the other one better. More better. Liquidation heat map. Yeah. No, not this one. Where did it go? Where's model 2? Why can't I find it? Oh, here we go. Silly me. Yeah, in the last 24 hours, we had about 100 million in shorts liquidated, but we had more longs liquidated, about 419 million. So I don't know if you guys want to gamble, you can use my ref link. I got a Femex ref link down below. Not your keys, not your coins, and it would help support me and help support the channel. If you guys are going to continue to irresponsibly long and short, honestly, with all the geopolitical stuff, I wouldn't be touching anything. I would not. Now let's talk about Ethereum. So Ethereum's got some more positive news, thank goodness. And Ethereum price slips, but institutions flock to Ethereum staking. And this is from Lido. What does this mean? It means that people are long-term bullish on Ethereum, in my personal opinion. Why are people long-term bullish on Ethereum? Well, we're seeing a lot of the whales buying Ethereum. We're seeing them move it over to staking. So, or just move over their holdings as well. So people are buying and they are also moving over their long-term holdings. And the reason why I think this is happening, and again, it could be pretty much anything, but I personally think I could go either way. That's what I mean when I say anything. But I personally think that they're placing their bids on Ethereum. They're moving it over to staking because they're going to earn passive income, that yield, and then they're going to go ahead and sell some of that, et cetera, take profit on it. So that's my personal opinion on what's going on. But in this story over here, ETH price is underperforming, but institutional interest in staking is growing, says Keen Gilbert, head of institutional relations at the Lido Foundation. He said asset managers, custodians, family offices, and crypto firms are exploring staking strategies. because it is rumored that we're going to get the Solana spot ETF with staking coming soon. I think I need to make a video for you guys. I made a bunch yesterday. I have to see what I need to post or whatnot. But anyways, liquid staking tokens like Staked ETH, STETH, solve capital lockup and custody challenges because it's compatible with regulated custodians and it makes it easier for institutions. Plus, Lido's V3 smart contract help institutions meet compliance needs. And prior to that, there was a lack of regulated custody, and that created a big barrier for institutional staked ETH adoption. But with this version 3 of Lido's platform, it was regulatorily approved, which makes sense for institutions to enter. So the custody solutions boast adoption by making staking more accessible. Again, you don't need to buy any of these traditional financial instruments. You can stake and do all this stuff on your own. That's what DeFi is. That's why it's important. Or you can head over to Brazil because they're launching a stock exchange USD-backed Ethereum and Solana futures. But again, you can use real DeFi, or you can head over to the TradFi folks. So it's completely up to you. But do you see, do we really need all this institutional adoption? Is this what mass adoption is? That's a question I like to ask myself. And I want to hear your guys' comments below. But since we were on the topic of centralized stuff now, we can look at this from Mr. Eric B. This was yesterday. Everyone is asking, when, Larry? I don't know. No intel. My spidey sense not helpful either, as I can see them filing, but I could also see them not filing. And people are basically asking when BlackRock will file an XRP or a Solana spot ETF, because it looks like CoinShares just applied for one. Now, here's my thought process behind... with the whole entire the BlackRock thing. Okay, the thought process is that BlackRock is going to wait. BlackRock is going to wait until the other Solana ETFs get approved, and they're probably because all this stuff is public information. So I think that that's exactly what they're going to do, is that they are going to be watching to see what happens. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, with that being said, I think that we will definitely get an XRP and a Solana ETF from BlackRock, but it's going to take a little bit of time. And for some reason, my TikTok didn't connect today, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and look at that later. So I apologize to my TikTok babes. Anyways, let's get into the next story. And this is about Solana. So Solana treasury strategy better than Ethereum. Firms buying Solana should trade at premium. Cantor. And this is from Cantor. And this is pretty important. So they are basically bullish on Solana. And they initiated coverage over Solana treasury firms, DeFi Development, Apexi, and Solana Strategies with overweight rating. Basically, by initiating coverage, they're analyzing the financials, business model, risk, and growth perspectives of firms holding or managing Solana treasuries. Cantor says Solana is a better treasury asset than ETH due to superior tech and faster developer growth. And analysts also say we believe treasury companies are betting the future of France will be on chain, and that chain of choice will be Solana. And this is a really interesting take. I mean, I haven't really checked to see... I haven't checked to really see what, as far as how invested Cantor Fitzgerald is in Solana. But again, I think that a lot of these companies, these TradFi companies, they'll put out these reports, but they won't disclose how invested they are. And again, there is a big difference between Solana and Ethereum. I mean, Ethereum kind of set the stage. They had a lot of problems. They decided to focus on layer one. They merged from proof of work to proof of stake and kind of neglected their initial layer, while Solana is like, hey, this looks dope. We love this. We absolutely love it. Let's create our own version and let's make it better. And that's what they did. So I like it. But you guys want to fit check. So here's a shirt, my little shirt. And then here's my shorts. These I got from eBay, used. And I love that they got these little patches here. So that's it. Just old Levi's. And it's hot. It's getting hot. I'm getting sweaty over here. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next story, okay? So I hold both Solana and I hold Ethereum, and I'm going to continue to hold them and keep diversified. I'm also going to continue to focus on the top 200 coins, most of them, those being made in the USA. I think the only one outside of the USA that I'm really focusing on is also VeChain as well, because I want to make a DApp with them. That for sustainability. I think it's going to do really, really well. We'll get that 1 billion customers. Now, this is from this is from Generation Infinity, but according to them, and this official filing by the Federal Register, they said the SEC has officially launched proceedings to determine whether to approve or disapprove NASDAQ proposed to list Canary HBAR ETF. And that's basically going to be a commodity-based trust that would hold HBAR, the native asset of the Hedera network. And he gives the bullet points over here. And they also says it was released yesterday on June 16th. So filed under NASDAQ rule 5711, custody would be BitGo and Coinbase custody. I like BitGo. I'm a big BitGo fan. I like them a lot. They're much more like, even though they're super tradfi-ish, like Coinbase and super centralized, I really see them, their team is nice. Like their team is friendly. Their team is nice. And, I see them really being like the one-stop shop for custody for everyone long-term. Also, benchmark CoinDesk Hedera USD EDX. Redemption would be cash or in kind, 10,000 shared blocks. That would be crazy because we don't have in kind redemption yet for Bitcoin or Ethereum spot ETF. So that if this gets approved, that would be the first of its kind. The sponsor is Canary Capital Group, and the common deadline is July 7th, and rebuttals by July 21st. And the SEC hasn't rejected the proposal, but instead moved into a formal review phase. And they want to see if the ETF is going to be resistant to market manipulation, align with investor protections standards, or supported by adequate surveillance and liquidity infrastructure. So apparently this move delays other crypto ETFs, Doge, DOT, but it does show that the SEC is applying consistent scrutiny across all altcoin ETF filings. So I think it's really, really cool. I know it's going to take time. Council said there isn't any mass adoption without institutions adopting as well. Well, way back in my day, 2017, 2018, mass adoption was actually having people use your product. That's what mass adoption was. That's what it was. But now it's changed. I'll let you process that for a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know. I hope that this gets approved because it would make my prediction through quarter 3, quarter 4, 2025. But I think it'll be quarter 4. I think it will be. I'm actually going to make the second media. I'm going to go ahead and make, I'm going to do one on XRP for you guys later. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to do that. We'll do that later because there's some updates. So stick around for the next one. I'm going to drop it at 2 p.m. PT, possibly. But if we do get the Genius Act approved, then I'm going to put it out a short to let you guys know what's happening. But stay tuned for the dedicated media on XRP because there's a lot of news with that. But anyways, you guys have a great rest of the day. I got to go check on my baby and see what's going on. How do I handle ED? That's a tough one. I've been struggling with that for a long time. I used to be really, really bad at it, and I would go on all these binges and stuff like that. But now I just realized that instead of starving myself, I'm just going to limit my portions and not eat as much and not do the binge eating thing. And I'm also going to, and this matters for men too, because men do it too, not just girls. But I'm not only going to, I'm going to try to have smaller portions, but make sure I'm full. And on the weekend, like I go crazy. I have fun. But I started doing walking again an hour because I used to do that when I was 95 pounds before I had my daughter. So I'm going to, I doing the walking for an hour, and then I do like different exercises that are good for my body, that work for my body. And she was asking about the wrong thing. Well, on that note, but yeah, I just try to maintain and be healthy. Anyways, you guys, I didn't know what Queen was saying. But on that note, I got to go because I'm starting to sweat. Sending you guys love and light, and I'll see you guys soon. Okay, bye.